Hey, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded for women and women entrepreneurs, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships with mind mastery and meditation tools and techniques so that you can live the life that you're proud of. Welcome to today's podcast. Hello, ladies. It's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Hey, I hope today's episode finds you creative and inspired. And if you are not creative and inspired, then today I hope you find a nugget that helps you to become inspired, because on this episode, we are going to be talking about manifesting. Now, it is one of my favorite topics outside of mind mastery, but I will tell you what, I have had so much fun with this particular topic. Now, what in the world is manifesting? Manifesting is using your internal faculties. When I say faculties, I mean like your mind, your thinking, your creating, your imagination, your visualization, your determination, anything that basically ends with shun. But it is about creating, and it is about working with the energy of you to create and attract things that you want. And so we're going to start with something very simple and easy to do. Remember when I was younger, I told you the story about when I tried to manifest letters from my friends in the mail? Well, we're going to do something like that, but you're not going to take on the thing that you have been trying to have show up in your life forever and ever. Like, for 20 years now, I've been looking for the love of my life, or I'm looking for the job, and I've been in this job for 15 years and I've hated it ever since I started. So we're not going to start there. And the only reason I'm going to tell you not to start there is because your emotional state about that thing already is low, or it's already got so much momentum about frustration, or maybe even helplessness or powerlessness. And I don't want you to be trying to manifest with a place from there without being able to really direct and focus your mind. So we want to start with something fun. And I almost want to say whimsical. I'm not really sure why I like that. I was playing my Disney game before I came on here, and we had gone to Disney this year. And I remember setting the intention to have a really good time. And we did. But what I forgot to do was set the intention that the weather was nice, or try to manifest that we had nice weather. I was okay with it, but it did make a couple of people in the party a little bit miserable. Even though it was warm, it kind of added to the adventure. It did change, some things did not take place because of the rain. But what does this have to do with anything? Okay, so we already talked about setting the intention. Now we're going to talk about going even further and really trying to use your energy and your focus to create something specific. Okay, now how do we do this? Now we've talked about intentions, we've talked about focus a little bit. We'll get into more of that as we go along here. And we've talked about meditation, so getting into the brain waves, like taking theta naps. And if you have not listen to that episode, that is Meditation is Woo-Woo, where I talk about the brain waves, but only talk about the brain waves as it relates to meditation. Because when I was learning how to meditate, I had no freaking idea what brain, or what was I supposed to be thinking, or I don't understand, and I would just fall asleep and wake up and go, did I do it? So that was the key for my meditation. But what we're going to do is I'm going to suggest that you try two different exercises. And these have both worked for me. They've worked for people that I have worked with, my clients. Anytime that they're saying, hey, you know what, I want to bring this thing into my life. I want to use my energy to create this thing, and I don't know how to do it. So here's one. You get a piece of paper. You write at the top of the piece of paper whatever the thing is. Now, I want you to do something that's fun when you think about it. If you've been trying to achieve the big giant house or the big career or the income for a long time and it's frustrating, please don't do that one. We will work on that one at a later date when we start to really learn how to focus and really learn how to manage our emotions a little bit better, and we can look at those things from a neutral standpoint. So today you're going to think about something that's fun. It could be your favorite animal, a food, even your favorite color. And then you're going to write that desire in intention form at the top of the paper. I intend to attract blank, 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 whatever that thing is. Now, let me tell you a really funny story when I did this. So I wrote in my journal, and I was practicing manifesting, and I wrote in my journal, I was also, well, let me go back. I'm so sorry that I start in the middle of the story. Amy reminded me when she was listening to my podcast, she's like, okay, two things. One, you take a long time to get to the point, and two, you start in the middle of the story. So as you know, these are my very first podcasts. So this is like number, I think, 18, and I love to tell stories, but I also love to teach. So I try to weave in the story with the teaching to kind of better help you understand, and then try to get to know me a little bit better. But I do kind of jump ahead and in the teaching and kind of forget the backstory. So let me start from the beginning. I'm trying to manifest. I started learning some different techniques from, the 1,000 books that I read, because I'm trying to create the life that I want. And I remember somewhere in the book, it's saying, start with something easy. And it could be something specific using a color. Okay. So at this point, I was working at a daycare, and an in-home daycare as an assistant director. And we had a bunch of little kids at this time during the day. Of course you would. But we did get school age kids in the afternoon. But anyway, so there was probably, 8 or so kids. And that morning, I decided I was going to manifest something specific that would make me aware of what was happening. Now, let me explain. So I write something down in my journal, and I say something like, I want to attract a bluebird. Okay. Then I do the second part of the exercise, which I'm not going to tell you yet. I want to finish this part of the story. But then I would go about my day, and the bluebird might show up, but I'm not remembering that I had manifested it that morning. And then therefore it wasn't significant enough that by the end of the day, I didn't remember that I manifested it when I go back to my journal and say, okay, I wanted to manifest a bluebird. And I'm like, did I see one today? I don't know, maybe. So the interaction that I have with the thing as I'm first starting to practice is it had to be significant. The bluebird had to either land on my head, poop on my car, try to take a sandwich out of my hand, something significant in the interaction that I would remember. So then by the end of the day, I would go, oh my gosh, I did that. And then of course I wouldn't believe it. And so I would have to do it again. Okay. So that's my part of the story of phase 1 of practicing manifesting abilities. So here's what you're going to do. The first part is I intend to attract a bluebird. Okay. Then you're going to write the word bluebird on the paper like 5,000 times. Okay, maybe not 5,000, but you're going to be very creative. Now, what this is going to do is as you are writing, you can use colored pencils, you can use different fonts, but as you are writing and thinking about the bluebird and what you're trying to manifest is you are actually getting out of beta and into alpha brainwave. Now, what does that mean? You are going to be relaxing, which means you're going to be letting your guard down so your subconscious mind can receive the message that you are wanting to give it, which is today, hey, universe, I'm trying to organize my energy. I'm trying to get my crap together. I'd like to see a freaking bluebird. Okay? So you're going to write it. You could draw it. You can use colored pencils. You could use a pen. It does not matter. Now, understand that I added 2 things. Now, even though I was talking about a bluebird specifically, I did add 2 things, blue and a bird. Now, do not pigeonhole. Do you like my pun there? Do you get it? Pigeonhole, and we're talking about birds. Do not pigeonhole the universe into, I only want this one thing and this one thing only. Because I do not want you to get into the habit of trying to force the universe to give you this only specific thing. We need to be able to take the lid off or raise the ceiling about our desire. So if I say something like, here's an example. If I say something like, I want a better job, the universe goes, okay, I'm going to give you a better job. But that better job may not pay more, or it may have really crappy hours, but it might be better as an atmosphere. Or it might be a restaurant that has better food, but you might not like the hours or the pay. Do you understand what I mean? So we want to be specific, but at the same time, and specific as in the things that we desire, but not specific with how it comes to us. So in this sense, you're writing the word bluebird, but it might not be the actual bluebird. It could be a bluebird like from Sesame Street, or a bluebird from this particular cartoon that doesn't really identify a bluebird as we know it out in nature. Okay, here's another example. In my journal, as I remember this tool, I write, I intend to receive a red gift from a child. I worked at a daycare. And if you ever work with kids or have kids, they're always, not always, but there's always one kid that's always wanting to give you things. Right? They're always wanting to, here's a picture I drew for you. Here's the blocks that I built. Here's these other things that I made, and I want to give them. I want to gift them to you. Kids, we talked about the 5 love languages. If their love language is gifts, you will find these kids doing that. Okay, back to this exercise. Sorry for all these commercial breaks. Okay, so now that was the morning of this one particular day I worked at daycare. I wish to receive a red gift from a child. Doesn't mean anything to me. I am not attached to it. All I'm trying to do is work my energy and trying to create a certain response by my intention. So I get to daycare and I'm working with my very best friend, Carrie, and I tell her in the morning, because she knows I'm like working on manifesting, I'm always reading these books, and she's kind of standing idle by waiting, like what is she doing and what's happening? And I'm kind of going to see if she's, going to create something or do something or whatever, right? And so I get there and I tell her, I'm excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I learned this new technique and I'm going to practice this thing and I'm so excited about it. And here's what I'm trying to manifest today, a red gift from a child. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I said, you're supposed to practice with something easy, something that you're not like holy moly attached to. Okay. Okay. So the day goes by. Of course, I forget about it, which is good. You kind of just put it out there and then you let go of it. Don't keep choking it. Don't keep going back to it and fretting about it and getting upset about it, which is why you don't start with something that you're so attached to. So go about the day. It's now, 12 o'clock, we have lunch, and I'm not even thinking about it. Completely has escaped my mind. Not even thinking about it. And then we go outside, and actually it was before lunch because Carrie was in the kitchen making lunch and I was outside with the kids. And there's probably 7, 8, 9 kids, something. And all of a sudden, this one boy, his name is Jacob, and he's probably 2-ish, not really talking, but he's also very, very shy. So even right now, he's probably 17, and he probably still doesn't talk. The kid was very, very shy, and he wasn't exceptionally he was friendly, but he wasn't like exceptionally friendly towards me. I mean, I liked him and I got along with him. He was a great kid. But you have some of the kids that are like clingers, that are like, they're obviously in love with you because they hang on you all day long. They give you things all day long. And Jacob was not one of those kids. Great kid, just not very overly affectionate or, have this great holy moly relationship with or anything like that. But okay, I think you know what I mean. So I am watching the kids, and she has one of those big yard swings. And so I'm sitting in this yard swing and I'm watching the whole yard, and all of a sudden he comes over and he puts this little red plastic man, like a little toy figure, and he hands it to me, and I'm like, thank you, Jacob. And then he goes and runs off. Then he comes over and he hands me a red Frisbee. Thank you, Jacob. Very nice. That's a great Frisbee, right? Then he goes away and he comes back with a red ball. And right about the red ball, and I'm looking in my lap and I'm seeing this red figure, this red Frisbee, this red ball, and I didn't say anything, but now I'm starting to remember what I tried to manifest from this morning. And I start to get a little bit googly inside, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I like, thanks, Jacob. And it went on for probably another 35 seconds. And the next thing he brought me was a little red truck, like a little plastic sand toy. And right at this point, I about crapped my pants because I'm like, oh my God, and I'm going to say it again because this is our mantra, so please don't get mad at me. This shit works. I'm like, oh my God. So I grab all these toys. I run into the kitchen and I'm like, Carrie, look. And she looks at me and, she's like stirring something in a pot or something. And she looks at me and she's like, what? And I said, a red Frisbee, a red ball, a red truck, a red figure. And she's like, okay. Because obviously she forgot too. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? A red gift from a child? She dropped the spoon and she's like, oh my God. And we're standing there and we're like screaming in the kitchen because I was able to, with my intention and with my faculties, remember what faculties means? It's like my thought, my attention, my determination, my commitment, my manifesting powers, everything that you can think inside your head, right? I did it. I did it. I manifested a red gift from a child. So Jacob then became my best friend. And anyway, Carrie and I, jumping up and down in the kitchen, we continued. Now she wants to know what I'm talking about. So we continue to kind of practice and play with this. And that's the emphasis I want to make on you today. Play with this. Play with this. Later in these episodes, I will talk about manifesting your big dreams, bringing things like that into your experience, into your life experience. Today, I do not want you to try that. I know it's going to be hard and you're going to think, oh, well, all you have to do is think about it. All you have to do is write it on a piece of paper. Some of you may get lucky. It depends. And I don't mean lucky. I mean lucky. There is no such thing as luck, but lucky as in you're able to align with that thing that you've been wanting this whole time. But if you have any negative emotions or any limiting beliefs or blocks, energy blocks around that thing, manifesting is going to be really, really hard. Here's the analogy I use. Picture the garden. Picture a long garden hose. You go to the faucet, you turn the water on. What comes out at the other end? Clean, clear water. Okay? If I walk to the middle of that hose and I grab two parts and I kink it, I cross my hands and I kink the hose, now what comes out at the other end? Nothing. So when we want something so bad that we've been working so hard to get, those emotions, those limiting beliefs, and that stuck energy kinks the hose. The universe cannot give to you. You are not in receiving mode to get that thing. That's the only reason you do not have the thing yet, is because you're not in alignment with it. Think of the hose from the faucet to the garden, a nice straight line or a curved line or whatever, but it's not kinked. That's what alignment is. You turn that faucet on and all that water runs to the end of the hose. If you kink it anywhere, if you stop it somehow with doubt, with anxiety, with helplessness, powerlessness, I'm never going to get it, any of those emotions will kink the hose. The universe is always trying to send you the thing. But if you slam the door in its face, it can't get through. So what I don't want to have happen is now you go, okay, Jen, whatever you say, I'm going to try it anyways. And then you go and try it and you don't get it because you have stuck energy or limiting beliefs around that thing and you don't end up getting it. Now you're going to think manifesting is stupid and it doesn't work. And I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to think that you can't have that thing, because you can. But let's start with playing with it. Let's start with playing with it. Remember when you first started to learn how to ride a bike? You first started to learn how to walk. You were just in joy about it. Learning how to do it. Learning how to go from the couch to the coffee table. Now the couch to the kitchen. Now from one end of the house to the other. You didn't then sign up for your marathon, right? You didn't then go from learning to ride a bike from the house to the end of the driveway to then I'm going to ride across the country. So we have to start here. So picture yourself as a very young person learning something new. So 2 things. Get a piece of paper, or there's one way to do it. Okay, so get a piece of paper, write the intention on the top. I intend to create or to receive a red gift from a child. Now, I left the door open, but red was my thing, okay? Red's my favorite color, and so I did that, but it was a gift from a child, okay? So I also practiced again when I was heading out to lunch with a couple of friends, and it was my birthday, and they had a birthday present for me, that then I did it again, but I say I want to manifest a blue gift from a friend. Now, I remember that it was my birthday, but I didn't know that they were, we were going out to lunch, so I thought that that was kind of our thing. They were going to buy me lunch, and it ended up being a blue photo album from them with a bunch of photos of us in it, but it was blue, a blue gift from a friend. Okay, so you can start with something like that, because then it's kind of fun, because now it's this gift, but you're being specific yet open. So specific as in the color, which is what I would recommend, is a very specific color. And then something that, like a gift, so now you know it's from me to you, right? And it's from a kid, a child, an adult, something. But don't be like, okay, I want a blue photo album from my friend Joanne. Okay, that might be a little bit too specific. So you want to like give, this is where miracles happen and things become a little bit, can I use the word now? Whimsical or magical, is that you want this end result, but you don't want to pigeonhole the universe in it's got to come this way from this person as this gift. Another way you could do it is, I want to see purple elephants today. It is my intention to see purple elephants today. Now, it's funny because I'm sure as I'm doing this podcast, I'm going to get a red gift from a child, I'm going to get a blue gift from a friend, and I'm going to see purple elephants. But either way, this is your practice for today. Another way you could do it, another part of the exercise, if not writing it down, you could just put it in a journal. Now, the writing down process I like because it gets you out of beta, which is where we're always choking the hose. You're always kinking the hose when you're in beta. You go out and you experience life and you say, I really want that thing. And then immediately you say something like, yeah, but I can't afford it. I really want that thing, but yeah, I don't have time off. I really want that thing, but crap, I have to work. Or crap, I have kids. I don't have that kind of freedom, right? Whatever the thing is. You say it, so you go out into the world in your beta mindset, your beta conscious mind, you're awake and alert. And then you're like, I really want that thing because you're experiencing the world. I really wish I had the day off today. I really wish that I had a nicer car. I really wish that my boyfriend was nicer to me, or my husband gave me flowers for my birthday instead of, cleaning out the cat litter box, whatever. So you go out and experience the world from beta, but then you kink it as soon as you say it. But then if you were to come back into that meditative state at the end of the day and say, I really do want that job, that this and this, or I do really want a better job. Then you get into that alpha and theta brainwave, and then you can create that. But you can't come out of that meditation and go, yeah, but how am I ever going to do that? Or yeah, the economy kind of stinks right now. Those jobs kind of aren't available, or I don't really have the credentials or the experience. Then you kink it again. You stand right there at the garden hose and you kink it, and then you yell at the end, where's my clear water? Do you see how that goes? It's frustrating, but that's why we're starting with something like this. So that's my suggestion for you. Write it down in a journal, and then you could meditate about it. You could meditate about it. You can use your imagination and your visualization skills, and you can put that in there and be like, okay, so I'm going to meditate about I want to intend this thing, and then you're just going to picture those things in different forms. You're going to add action and words and excitement of like, if this happened, who would you tell? What would you say? So for example, purple elephants. Okay, Amy, I wrote it in my journal. I intend to attract purple elephants today in my life. I just want to see them in every form I can see them. And then I'm going to visualize it. And then I'm going to visualize what I would say to Amy if I started to see them. How excited I would be. Oh my gosh, like what would it mean to you if you could create this? And I also think that you should come up with a way that is a little bit out of the ordinary. So then you really know and you prove it to yourself that you are doing it. Versus, I want to have a good day today. Or I want to see the color orange today. Now don't do that. But put a color and a thing together that is ordinary or extraordinary. So like a purple elephant. If you look around the room that you're in right now, are you going to see a purple elephant? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on what room of the house you're in. But if you look around, it's not an ordinary object. Like, I want to manifest a pencil. Well, in my office right now, there's 4,000 pencils. Yay, I did it. Okay. You might not believe that. But if you say purple elephants, which is kind of a extraordinary kind of a thing, it's kind of out of the blue. Do you like that pun too? Out of the blue? Get it? Okay. So that's what I'm going to recommend. So then you can write it down. You set the intention, write it down, or you can write it in your journal, or you can tell somebody and visualize it. But then make it out of the ordinary. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that you're listening to this. I'm happy for you to go through this exercise. So it's like, take it serious, but be playful. Don't choke it. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening, and if you liked this episode, please take the time to like and share. Also, please visit me on my other social media pages. I'm on Instagram, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. I'm on Facebook, where we have this community titled Life Mastery Decoded, and it's a community of women and women entrepreneurs where we come together to support one another in sharing our successes and struggles. You can also check out my YouTube channel, where I share my teachings and my personal journey, and it's simply titled Jen Mack, Jenmac. Have a great day, and I hope to hear from you.